Let me keep it straight. Yeah, we good. All right. All right. Shalom. 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 First and foremost, as always, we'd like to start off by giving all praises, all honor, and all infinite glory unto Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Hashem,
Yahweh,
Hashem,
Rakakadash.
I want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who taught us his truth and who do rule well, as well as peace, blessings, and many salutations to the hopeful elect, the sincere believers out there as well. All right. I'm the brother Shapal.
I'm the brother Gabar.
And through the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, man, we wanted to go in on this lesson. Shalom, Yahweh Hashem Yahushai Barakatah, Barakatam, to any of the, fellow laborers and just the brothers and the sisters in general that may tune in and watch this, all right, the believers, all right. But like I said, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, we wanted to go into this, man, on how, important it is to have that zeal for Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. And for those that don't know what zeal is, we're going to go ahead and get the definition, all right. This is from edomonline.com, okay. It says passionate ardor in pursuit of an objective or course of action. Okay, so ultimately you can say that passion, okay, is synonymous with zeal, okay, but it's beautiful because it says of an objective, of course, it says of an objective or course of action, right? Because there's a certain way that we're supposed to be coming, okay, to be, representatives of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, okay, to preach His word and teach His word, you have to come a certain way, man. Okay, you can't be, and not to say we don't have our faults and flaws. We all do, of course. That should go without saying at this point. But you should have that, full zeal. Okay, I'm gonna read a little bit more. This is directly from late Latin, zealous, zeal, emulation. Okay, let me grab this word emulation real quick. It says effort to equal or excel in qualities or action that one admires in another or others, right? And who is the man that we're supposed to be following after? The whole time, man. And look at the works that he did, man. Look at how he came, right? It's a certain way that we're supposed to be coming in this thing as well, and being those like I made mention of, like the brother likes to say, ambassadors of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, man. We should be eager to get into this word. We should be, like the scripture says, defending the gospel, okay, contending for the faith, right? And ultimately, it goes into devotion, man. So when you look at the different accounts within the scriptures of, the apostles and their journeys and how they went to different, cities, if you will, okay, different synagogues and stuff. They came across men who, not all of them had that zeal, okay? Not all of them were devout men, okay, that were seeking out of the scriptures daily, whether the things were true or not, okay, so on and so forth. But the brother has an opening account that we wanted to go into. So you go ahead with that, bro.
God, I'm gonna actually get this in the book of Revelations first, to kind of push forward that vibration, because ultimately this is a spirit that you don't want to be in. All right, Revelations chapter 3, and I'm going to start at verse 15. I know thy works, that thou art neither cold nor hot. I would thou wert cold or hot. So then, because thou art lukewarm and neither cold nor hot, I will spew thee out of my mouth. So you can kind of liken it to a hot summer day, man. All right, on a hot summer day, what is going to ultimately satisfy you, man? A cold cup. You don't want a hot cup on a hot day. The same way if you change the seasons and reference winter, man. You want a hot a cup of tea, or some cocoa, if you will, man. You want that warming feeling. That satisfaction. That's going to be brought to you. all right, according to the time or the season. That's the same thing with the word, all right, the word being that water, that living waters, all right. And with the changes of the seasons and times come ultimately different trials, different tribulations that come our way, and ultimately we have to make adjustments, day in and day out, basically through the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai on how to handle those things, man, on how to ultimately endure those things, All right, jumping over the first Maccabees. Okay. All right, now this is the account of Mattathias, all right, as he was on his deathbed, and ultimately, that same spirit that he was in is the same spirit that we're in by way of this lesson, man. The same way he wanted to call into remembrance all of the beautiful works, all right, that we did in our past lives, Lord, when we be of those men, all right, that our forefathers have done, all right, the spirits of the prophets being subject unto the prophets, man, so we are pushing that same vibration, all right. First Maccabees chapter 2 verse 49. Now when the time drew near that Mattathias should die, he said unto his sons, now hath pride and rebuke gotten strength, and the time of destruction and the wrath of indignation. Now therefore, my sons, be ye zealous for the law, and give your lives for the covenant of your fathers. Right, man, that's the same spirit ultimately that we're in, man, being zealous, all right, already being in that spirit of striving for the truth unto death, man. If death is what it comes to, beautiful, man, because then a crown of life awaits us. You got anything, brother?
Yeah, come on, bro. I just wanted to add because, these men, just like a lot of men today, okay, are zealous for the law, and a lot of these men out here, they put exactly that, the law, the law, the law, the law. Well, we're no longer justified by the law. We're justified by our faith, okay? And in the times to come, you're going to have that passion for Yahweh Hashem Yahshai, that zeal, and put on, in times where it may seem like, there's no way out. There's no escape. You're fucked. You're about to die. And a lot of us may have to be martyrs for Yahweh at the end of the day. But it's about those, that follow the Lamb whithersoever he goeth. They keep love not their lives unto death, but just maintained that passion, right? And it makes me think of that also, that account. I believe it's in Maccabees as well. With Eleazar.
Mm-hmm.
So they basically trying to come to him, because he was like a man of renown. He was a man that was looked up to. He had a certain level of reputation and respect, and they tried to come to him, being that leader, if you will, and try to get him to, well, just make it, just pretend like you're gonna eat pork, okay? Make it seem like you're gonna eat pork, and then the rest of your followers will do the same. But he told them no, man, and he died, So we have to come in that same passion, willing to put our lives on the line, as we already are through the Spirit, right? For Yahweh Hashem Yahshai. But that's all I wanted to say, bro.
No, that's a beautiful point, because it's easy to, even though Jake wants to be wicked, but the commandments aren't grievous, so it's easy to follow commandments, but it's not easy to have faith in the midst of tribulation. It's not easy to maintain that faith in the midst of all hell breaking loose. It's easy to avoid pork, boom, like it doesn't require anything, just walk away. You know what I'm saying? Like it's easy, but it's not easy to continue to maintain that measure of believing that what you have not seen in the midst of chaos that you are seeing, and beautiful point, that you made mention. All right. Because again, like you said, that's the time period that we're entering into, ultimately that faith, all right, is what's going to deliver, continuing further, First Maccabees chapter 2, verse 50. Now, therefore, my sons, be ye zealous for the law, and give your lives for the covenant of your fathers. Call to remembrance what acts our fathers did in their time, so shall ye receive great honor and an everlasting name. Right. And that's, these particular accounts. All right. These were men who were zealous for the law, but they also executed faith. They was You know, when you in this thing, man, you have to be you have to be so engulfed in it, if you will, you know, literally, man. All right, because ultimately being engulfed in this thing, you know, being, you know, engulfed in Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, all right, is the only thing, all right, that is gonna get us to where we need to be, you know, is the only thing that's gonna give us life, you know, redemption. All right. First Maccabees chapter 2, verse 52. Was not Abraham found faithful in temptation, and it was imputed unto him for righteousness? Joseph, in the time of his distress, kept the commandment and was made Lord of Egypt. All right. Hey, and that's beautiful as well, because, yeah, you know, he kept the commandment. But again, what did it take? It took that measure of faith to continue believing that things was going to be okay. You know, hey, the same way, are we not here in spiritual Egypt? You know, it's that same measure. All right. But our elevation is going to come by way of those chariots, man, when the Lord cracks them skies and comes back to deliver us. All right. It's not going to be on a lower level any longer of just, you know, elevating by way of a title, you know, or in a fleshly aspect. You know, that we're about to see the full translation from carnal rulership to spiritual rulership, you know. First Maccabees chapter 2, verse 54. Phineas, our father, in being zealous and fervent, obtained the covenant of an everlasting priesthood. All right. Jesus, for fulfilling the word, was made a judge in Israel. Caleb, for bearing witness before the congregation, received the heritage of the land. First Maccabees chapter 2, verse 57. David, for being merciful, possessed the throne of an everlasting kingdom. All right. Hey, and that's going into our salvation, man. All right. David, Yahweh Shai. All right. That everlasting covenant that was given unto us. All right. You got anything, bro?
Yeah, I just want to back you up real quick. It's a quick one, but I'm gonna start at this is Romans 12 and 10. It says, "Be kindly affection one to another with brotherly love, in honor preferring like in honor preferring one another, not slothful in business, fervent in spirit, serving the Lord." Right? Because at the end of the day, we got to keep in mind that we do serve that Almighty, omnipotent power, man, and His Son. Okay, you know. So, with that being said, just as you know, being the head of your house, would want your woman to come a certain way, you know, and not to be slothful, and not to be, you know, negligent on certain things that she's been, you know, given as a responsibility. The Lord looks at us the same way, man. Okay, you know, and if we can, actually, we can grab that precept.
It's more on that in Romans.
Yeah, it's more. I'm gonna come back to it, but I wanted to grab that precept. I believe it's in Matthew. Um, that slothful servant,
Mm-hmm.
right? Many stripes. Grab it on my phone, bro. I believe that was in 50. All right, Lucky. This is Luke chapter 12, and let's start it up a little bit at 42. All right. 49 says, "Then Peter said unto him, Lord, speakest thou this parable even to all?" And the Lord said, "Who then is that faithful and wise steward, whom his Lord shall make ruler over his household, to give them their portion of meat in due season? Blessed is that servant whom his Lord, when he cometh, shall find so doing." Right? So we don't want to be caught lacking, because at the end of the day, we know, pursuant to you know, Matthew 24 and I believe 37, you know, hey, the day of the Lord shall cometh as a thief in the night, you know, as in the days of Noah, you know. Hey man, people wasn't hearkening, they wasn't listening, they wasn't ready, man. Okay, but through the Spirit, we have this time frame, okay, this grace period where we've been given opportunity from when we woken up to this truth to, you know, do all the things that we need to do and possibly can, you know, um, and that way at the end of the day we'll be able to stand in the lot we desire to stand in, man. You know, which is what, under that hedge and under that protection of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Okay, but it says, verse 44, of a truth I say unto you, that he will make him ruler over all that he hath. But and if that servant say in his heart, my Lord delayeth his coming, and shall begin to beat the men servants and maidens, and to eat and drink and be drunken, the Lord of that servant will come in a day when he looketh not for him, and in an hour when he is not, and will cut him in asunder, or Salaki, and will cut him in sunder, and will appoint him his portion with the unbelievers. Yeah, we know it says in 2 Ezra 15, man, all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. You know? But it says, verse 47, and that servant which knew his Lord's will and prepared not himself, neither did according to his will, shall be beaten with many stripes. But he that knew not and did commit to his will with stripes shall be beaten with few stripes. For unto whomsoever much is given, of him shall more, Salaki, of him shall be much required, and to whom men have committed much, of him they will ask the more, right? So we've been given this opportunity, right? We've been given these spiritual gifts. Okay, we have to make use of them, man, in the appropriate manner, in the appropriate measure. Okay, every brother's lot is different at the end of the day. Okay, every brother has a different measure of the spirit that's been given unto them. Okay, but we have to, like it says, verse 11, not slothful in business. Okay, and then Yahweh Shai say, occupy till I come. You know, into when you go into that word, it's pragmatic with you carry on the business. Okay, so not slothful in this business, man. This is our enterprise, man, through the spirit. Okay, this is our, you know, we got the entrepreneurs and whatnot. This is the portion we've been giving, man, and it's a heavy load, you know. But we have to, hey, nevertheless, you know, keep our hands to the plow, and we can't be looking back. We can't be caught slacking. We can't be caught lacking. Okay. But Romans 12 and 11, not slothful in business, fervent in spirit, serving the Lord. Let me grab the word fervent real quick. Right. It says, the last definition, fervent in spirit, said of zeal for what is good. Ooh. And when you read up in that chapter, it tells you what? Romans 12 and 2, and be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of Yahweh. So at the end of the day, you know, we're you know, it's like the world says, man, right now we're in these proving grounds, okay, where, you know, we're trying to keep, you know, continue on, you know, leveling up, okay, making it to the next round in the tournament, so to speak, that at the end, you know, we may, you know, stand victorious, right? But it says, Romans 12 and 12, all right, rejoicing in hope, patient in tribulation, continuing instant in prayer, right? And those things, man, without those things, you know, without that endurance, that patience, you know, without prayer, man, you don't, you know, we don't stand a chance. But we have to continue on, you know, having that zeal to the best of our abilities, man. Having that passion, you know, this should be a joy unto you, man. This should nourish your bones, man. All right, this should sustain you, right? The spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahushai should sustain you, man, to you know, to the end, man. Ultimately, all right. But it says, I mean, that's the thing. You got anything, brother?
I was gonna say, actually, back in Luke, you could have started much higher.
Yeah, I didn't want to hold the mic too long. So
no, it's all right. It's all right. Luke chapter 12. Where did you start at, bro?
Gotcha. I started at 41.
I really just wanted to include 37 through 39, if you will.
John, you want me to read it?
Where the treasure is that we? Matter of fact, start at 34, bro. Baba Kasha.
Yeah, I'll read for you. You got it.
All right, come on.
Luke 12 and 34, it says, for where your treasure is, there will your heart be also.
Exactly, man. When you go into that word fervent, the archaic definition of it means hot and burning or glowing.
Yep.
You know, so ultimately, hey, that's that desire. You know, where your treasure is, there will your heart be. Also, that's desire, man. That's passion. You know, and ultimately, the real passion, the only passion that we should have, is doing the work, man. You know,
Yeah.
Go ahead, bro.
It says, verse 35, let your loins be girded about and your lights burning. Ooh.
Exactly, bro. Beautiful, kind. Exactly, and that's exactly what we're going to, man. Being that, you know, consistently hot. You know, always having that oil in your lamp. You know, ultimately, man. You know, because oil, when you light something with oil, you know, compared to
Salakia, your mic cut out, bro. Yeah, I can't hear you anything. I don't know if anybody on the comment board can hear. Maybe try. Let's see. Okay, y'all brothers here, Gabar. I don't hear nothing, bro. Yeah. Try backing out, coming back in, brother. Yeah, Salakia. Let me start back up. This is Luke chapter 12, and I'll read verse 34 again. It says, for where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. And when you go into the word heart in the Hebrew, it's la'ah, which means your mind. Okay. Sirach 39 comes to mind. In the Hebrew, it's la'ah, which means your mind. Okay. Sirach 39 comes to mind. In the Hebrew, it's la'ah.
Okay, how about now? No?
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, you good now.
Beautiful. All right.
Beautiful.
Try this again.
Right. So Luke chapter 12, verse 35, it says, let your loins be girded about and your lights burning.
Exactly, man. So we supposed to be burning. We supposed to be on fire. You know, we supposed to be girded up. You know, girded, ultimately being prepared, man. All right, let me just grab that real quick. All right, just for edification's sake. All right, the word gird itself means to encircle or prepare oneself for something difficult. All right, and that's what we're doing. We are preparing ourselves for something difficult or challenging. All right, not challenging to the spirit, but challenging to the flesh. All right, that's really where the real challenge comes. Maintaining yourself in the spirit and not giving yourself over to the flesh, not giving yourself over to, you know, like we make mention, it might not look good, you know, but that's according to the flesh, because through the spirit, it doesn't matter how things look. You have that faith, you have that drive, you have that fire, that determination to push forward, you know.
Right. Verse 36, and yea, yourselves like unto men that wait for their Lord, and when he will return from the wedding, that when he cometh and knocketh, that may open, or Salakia, they may open unto him immediately.
God, exactly, man. That's ultimately what we're doing, man. We're preparing. All right, we're staying prepared. We're staying diligent. All right, so that way when the Lord comes back, all right, we not you know, caught off guard, you know, or like the world says, you know, partying and bullshitting, if you will, man.
Right.
You know, we've been standing firm, and ultimately, you know, as Scripture says, being those watchmen, you know, and matter of fact, it goes into it. Keep going, bro.
Verse 37, blessed are those servants whom the Lord, when he cometh, shall find watching.
Yep.
Verily I say unto you, that he shall gird himself and make them to sit down to meat, and will come forth and serve them.
Yep. Go ahead, keep going.
And if he shall come in the second watch, or come in the third watch, and find them so, blessed are those servants.
Verse 39, the point.
And this know, that if the good man of the house had known what hour the thief would come, he would have watched and not have suffered his house to be broken through.
Right, exactly, man. But as is about to make mention in the next verse, we are being ready. We are maintaining ourselves in that spirit of preparedness. You know, hey, the same way you don't go to work with only half your supplies, man. All right, the same way that we do this day in and day out for Yahweh Shem Yahushai. All right, we are prepared to ultimately be received of Him, but also receive Him. You know, go ahead, bro.
Okay. You want that last verse?
Yeah, just that last one, Baba Kasai, verse 40, and then I'll jump back to Maccabees.
Luke 12:40. Be ye therefore ready also, for the Son of Man cometh at an hour when ye think not.
Exactly. And that's the point, man. We don't know when the Lord is coming back. You know, we're hoping, we're hasting. All right. That Lord willing, it'll be this year. All right. Hey, and if it's not this year for whatever reason, man, hey, we know it's soon, man. You know, if it doesn't happen, it's just like, man, it's like right there. You know, it's like you know, I like to say that you know, it's like you have a house and you have that pathway, but we've already went through that pathway by being out here being diligent. We're at the steps, you know, and ultimately we have to climb these steps to get to the door and open it. And climbing those steps is going through those battles, you know, being this last measure of that refining period ultimately, you know, because you know, go ahead, bro.
Can, brother, we have to be like it talks about in Revelation 14. Man, those side, the prophets, the men of renown, the men were saved and were delivered. They were saved and delivered because of the things that they did, man, the things that they put on, okay, how they ministered, if you will, okay, how they came in the right fashion, the right form, they were on point, and therefore, you know, like the Lord promises unto those that love him, hey man, you have my protection. You've devoted yourself. The Lord is gonna recompense, man. I think that's not the word. Reciprocate. The Lord is gonna reciprocate, man. Okay. The Lord isn't unrighteous to forget your labor of love, right? Like we always go into, but I wanted to get that word ready, okay, because like we talked about Salakia. Verse 36, Luke 12:36, and ye yourselves like unto men that wait for their Lord, when he will return from the wedding, or when he cometh and knocketh, that like they may open unto him immediately. And I believe somewhere in this in this piece it talks about, you know, being ready. Oh yeah, the last verse 40.
40. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, therefore ready also, but ready. I got that in Edemon line. The online etymology dictionary. Okay, as a verb, it says to administer, to take aim, to prepare, make ready. But what I wanted to get really was where it says in as an adjective. Okay, it says ordered, arranged, right? Because this was, you know, set from the foundations of the earth ultimately, but also, you know, when it goes into a wedding, you know, as the Lord and His Spirit has came and supped with us, okay, and has Lord willing, we have a good report in the heavens, okay, and he's you know, relaying our works and our actions and deeds and words and everything that we're doing unto Yahweh outside as well as the angels are, okay. You know, we need to be making sure that we're preparing or arranging or ordering a right that great wedding, right, for when the Lord comes back. You know, that we may have that protection, that we may be ready for the marriage, because there's a certain, you know, if you know anything about weddings, man, it takes just say, you know, come one day at a time and just say, oh, this is what we're gonna do. No, it's
preparation.
Yeah, it's preparation. You know, whether it be 2 weeks time, you know, they spend time coming out, you know, a few days throughout the week to make sure everything's on point. You know, calling the DJ, calling the people that's going to bring the food and the drinks, the catering. You know, they're making, you know, it takes dedication. Ultimately, it takes, you know, labor. It takes
consistency
and consistency, man. And ultimately, you know, tying back to the lesson, you know, we have to have that passion and that zeal and that consistency, like the word said, in order to, you know, receive what we hope to receive, man. All right.
Hey, that's a beautiful analogy. If I might add, the beautiful thing about that analogy is that, you know, part of a wedding, all right, you know, us in the world, you know, we were part of that process where you're trying things out. You know, you want to see if these utensils fit better with this. You know, you have your cake tastings, you know, eating up different philosophies and ideologies and all that until we found everything that was perfect. which is this word that was given us through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai.
Yeah.
And once you find everything that's perfect, then you begin to prepare. Then you start setting down the silverware and, you know, making the table. And that's what we're doing, you know, ultimately raising up that house of David, you know, preparing that that full banquet, that whole dining hall, if you will. But it's not just one, you know, it's me and this brother, you know, then we got thousands of other brothers stretched out all across the world, man. And we are all spiritually preparing for Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, which is a beautiful analogy. That was beautiful. I got something for you real quick, just on that same measure. 2 Ezra chapter 9, verse 22. Let the multitude perish then, which was born in vain, and let my grape be kept in my plant, for with great labor have I made it perfect. You know, and that's just like how you was going into, you know, ultimately we're being made perfect. All right. You know, we have went through, you know, these particular processes, being the trials, tribulations, you know, these refining periods that are approaching. And ultimately, during that process is where we're going to ultimately be made perfect, man. You know, and it's beautiful. All right. Back at First Maccabees, chapter 2, verse 57. David, for being merciful, possessed the throne of an everlasting kingdom. Elias, for being zealous and fervent for the law, was taken up into heaven. Verse 59, Ananias, Azarias, and Misael, by believing, were saved out of the flame. Daniel, for his innocency, was delivered from the mouth of lions. And thus consider ye throughout all ages that none that put their trust in him shall be overcome.
Mm-hmm.
Fear not then the words of a sinful man. Don't worry about what Esau's doing or saying or what he's preparing or his military, or don't worry about that. All right. First Maccabees chapter 2, verse 62. Fear not then the words of a sinful man, for his glory shall be dung and worms. Today he shall be lifted up, and tomorrow he shall not be found, because he is returned into his dust, and his thought is come to nothing. Right, man? And that's that another measure, man. That's that you know, because there's so many beautiful scriptures. All the scriptures are beautiful, but even more so, you have those particular ones, you know, that hit home and give you that faith booster, if you will, you know, that give you that extra drive. You know, like Matt Thayer said in the beginning, you know, calling to remembrance. All right, what acts our fathers did in their time, you know. So by way of the scriptures, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, we have such beautiful examples, all right, that ultimately allow us to call into remembrance, or bring us back into remembrance of all of these things, to help us go through the things ultimately that have yet to come. You know, go ahead, bro. You got something?
This word, man, you know, with the spirit and power of Yahweh outside backing it, is the answer we need to get to that, you know, point B, man, that final destination, that place of rest. Okay. You know, that this word, like I said, with the spirit and power of Yahweh outside backing it tells you, you know, how to be, man. It tells you how to come. It tells you how to do this and what not to do. It tells you right from wrong. You know, let me go ahead and bring out the precept. All right, this is Sirach chapter 6 in the last verse 37. All right, it says, "Let thy mind be upon the ordinances of the Lord, and meditate continually in his commandments. He shall establish thine heart and give thee wisdom at thine own desire." Okay, so you know it's beautiful because all throughout the scripture you'll see the same kind of verbiage. You know, you do this, you know, you focus on this, and the Lord, he shall establish your heart or your mind, right? He shall give unto you, he shall direct your steps, he shall lead you in the right direction, you know. So, you know, it's beautiful, man, because these things, you know, being given unto us, okay, you know, freely, like the scripture says, freely you have received, freely give. These things being given unto us, okay, not that we can, you know, minister, okay, the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yashai, obviously, but you know, we can tell our people the things that they need to know. If they won't receive it, which most won't, that's another thing. But at the end of the day, as it was given unto us, we're supposed to be doing the same. We're not supposed to be just followers in a verbal sense. We're supposed to be doing the same
Doors.
actions, doing the same deeds, man. Being passionate, okay, being fervent, and we have these accounts like we'll go ahead and grab this one in John 2 when Yahweh, okay, I believe it was a Passover. Yes, his first Passover, cleansing the temple. Okay, John 2:13. All right, it says, "And the Jews' Passover was at hand, and Yahweh went up to Jerusalem and found in the temple those that sold oxen and sheep and doves and the charges of money sitting." So they were, just like a lot of Israel today, man, filthy lucre's sake, right?
Yep. Making the truth into a goddamn monopoly.
Right. It says, verse 15, "And when he had made a scourge of small cords, he drove them all out of the table and the sheep and the oxen, and poured out the changers' money, and overthrew the tables," right? "And said unto them that sold doves, Take these things hence, make not my father's house and house of merchandise," right? So even Christians, they like to, just as an example, they like to talk about how, they like to basically portray the Lord as a very gentle man, but when that fervency and that zeal comes over you, okay, he flipping tables and shit like that, man. Like, yo, but yet at the end of the day, in the Lord's eyes, he was still found to be that perfect man. He was still, and that's what we're hoping for as well, man. Those mercies of David that we talked about. But it says, "Make not my father's house and house of merchandise," and his disciples remember that it was written, "The zeal of thine house hath eaten me up." I believe that's in Psalms or Proverbs, but yeah, man, it's beautiful because you have these accounts where, like you brought out Matthias, okay, this account with Yahushua, okay, and it goes to show how, like it talks about a second Ezra 2 and like the last couple of verses in that chapter. Hey, these be they that stood so stiffly for the Lord, man. That didn't tolerate disrespect, especially in this, and Yahweh told them to what do you say, destroy this temple. In 3 days I will raise it up.
I got something for you, bro.
Go ahead.
Which is perfect, because we just brought this out. But going to what you said, Christians, other people, they forget the second part of this. It's like, how they do. They only read portions of one scripture in and of itself.
Right.
This is Romans chapter 12, verse 9. "Let love be without dissimulation. Abhor that which is evil,
Right,
and cleave to that which is good." And I got that account with Matthias for you real quick. First Maccabees chapter 2, verse 24. "Which thing when Matthias saw," Salakia, First Maccabees chapter 2, verse 23. "Now when he had left speaking these words, there came one of the Jews in the sight of all to sacrifice on the altar, which was at Modin, according to the king's commandment." All right. Ultimately, the king put forth that decree, of forsaking your religion, your way of living, everything. All right. And you come sacrifice to our gods. All right. Verse 24, "Which thing when Matthias saw, he was inflamed with zeal, and his reins trembled, neither could he forbear to shew his anger according to judgment. Wherefore he ran and slew him upon the altar." And that's part of that abhorring that which is evil, man. And now, of course, that's not saying you go out and you slay every chick that's eating pork. No, man. All right. That wisdom and knowledge is going to be the stability of our times. All right. We are not in that position or authority to be executing judgment, man. Full judgment, if you will. All right. Judgment in certain measures. All right. Ultimately, by way of prophesying this word and doing the works, But again, like the brother was going into, all right, we abhor that which is evil, and we keep that zeal. We stay on fire for Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. And by that measure of us doing those things is by the same measure that we are increased, because of the fact that we are so we are on fire, we are pushing, we are diligent, we are consistent, desiring more. All right, and ultimately helping Yahweh Bashem Yahushai by way of the destruction of this place, man.
It's just like it talks about in Sirach, bro. You know how every spirit's created for vengeance. You know, ultimately to appease
Yep.
him that sent them.
Yep. Kind of.
And we should be coming in that same fashion. We should be trying to appease Yahweh Shem outside. But I got that word abhor. It's, in the etymology online dictionary, it says to loathe, regard, and I ain't even gonna pronounce that. Repugnance, dislike intensely. Okay, it says literally to shrink back with horror or dread.
Yep.
Okay, and
like hatred on steroids.
Right. When you go into that word horror, it says feeling of disgust. Okay, it says thing which excites horror, dread, veneration, religious awe. Okay, and when you go into that word religion or religious, you know, in Latin, of course, you know, the meaning again, and or in the Latin, it would be regilio, which means basically to bind again. Because that's what religion, but in its form, okay, religion is just you know, it's acts basically you do in worshiping a deity, right? But we do it, you know, our religion is that of worshiping Yahweh Shem Yahshai, obviously, in its purest sense. Okay. It says, I mean, that was the point. I'll go back to abhor. It says to loathe, regard with repugnance, dislike intensely. Okay. So people don't understand, man. You know, you have a lot of people who are like, well, you know, we'll look at certain things and we have, you know, we'll speak on it, man. But a lot of our people, they're like, well, you know, oh, why you like that? You know that I'm not bothered either. Just like it talks about in Proverbs or Psalms, one of them, you know, to who will stand for me against the evil ones, the workers of iniquity. Who will stand up for me, man? Who's gonna stand for the Lord here on the earth, man? You know, us, man, and you know, to be a judge. How about you outside is a righteous thing, man. That's the thing, but a lot of our people don't understand. We abhor wickedness, man. We hate wickedness, you know, because ultimately, hey, man, a lot of our people that the wickedness that they reside in and that they, you know, boast of, even, hey, man, that's gonna lead to their demise, and they're gonna be utterly fucking destroyed, man. So, hey, through the Spirit, man, we say what we say out of love. Ultimately, we come a certain way because we want our people to repent and come back to the power. But at the end of the day, most of our people won't get it, right? But this is Sirach chapter 10, verse 19. It says, they that fear the Lord are a sure seed. And that makes me think of the sure mercies of David. Okay, it's a sure thing, right? Like that song with what's his name, Miguel. It says, they that fear the Lord are a sure seed, and they that love him an honorable plant. Now, if you disregard the Heavenly Father's word and his son's word on how to conduct yourself, on how to behave, on what to do and what not to do, okay, if you're disregarding that, obviously you don't love him. Okay. Obviously, you're not that honorable plant, that sure seed, right? It says, they that regard not the law are a dishonorable seed. They that transgress the commandments are a deceivable seed.
Yeah. Man, that's beautiful, man, because ultimately, you know, they can't be trusted, man. All right, that's ultimately what it goes down to, man. You know, you can't be entrusted with even the measure of carnal things that you have been given, man. So what makes you think you're going to be entrusted with those things that are spiritual, you know? Let's see if I can grab this real quick. Go ahead, bro.
Okay, Colonel. I got one more. This is, you know, ultimately goes back to what, man? Fearing Yahweh from outside. You know, giving that reverence and respect unto Yahweh from outside. Okay, but also understanding not just reverence and respect, but understanding why you have to give that, because if you don't, you know, you don't come correctly. When you don't, you know, it's just like with the mob boss in the movies and whatnot, you know, the El Chapo, you know, etc. Hey man, they come a certain way because when they don't, when they go slick at the mouth, when they do something wrong, okay, they might, El Chapo might let it slide one time, two times, a few times. You know, Yahweh Shem Yahshai might not be so merciful. He might, but at the end of the day, that fear is important because like the apostles go into, you know, that being that great motivator, okay, to push you to do what you're supposed to do. All right, knowing that it's how fearful a thing it is to fall into the hands of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, man. That's a scary thing, man. You see, I mean, you know, what, I don't know the exact numbers, but 1,000 people die every day, probably a little more. You know, maybe a couple thousand. I'm not even 100% sure, but you know, and a lot of them, you know, didn't expect to die that day. A lot of them didn't expect to die the way that they died, and a lot of them died in a very horrific way, man. A very, you know, terrible way, if you will. You know, because hey, like it talks about in what is it, 2 Corinthians 12 or 2 Corinthians 10? Hey, through the terror of the Lord, you know, we persuade men. Yeah, because He is that a terrible power, man. You know, so ultimately, going back to the point of the lesson, man, we have to continue to be passionate about this thing because the Lord has no need for us, man. We need Him. Okay, so if you've even been invited to the wedding, hey, the most I could cancel your reservation, man.
Yep.
You know, you could be like, oh, well, actually, no, never mind. It's not gonna work out, right? So that's why it's important for the fear. And like it talks about right here, Philippians 2:12, it says, wherefore, my beloved, as ye have always obeyed, not as in my presence only, but now much more in my absence, right? Work out your fear and trembling, man. To tremble, to be shaken, like you gotta be shaken up, bro. And that goes to what? Let's go grab it. Like I brought out not too long ago, the stimulation, man. You know, because this word, like it talks about 2 Peter 3:1, this second epistle, beloved. I know, and you notice it says beloved, right? Which basically goes unto the house of David, okay? By Yath, the Wad, okay? It says this second epistle, beloved, now write unto you, in both which I stir up your pure minds by the way of remembrance. So we remembered, we're like, damn, okay, that is okay, damn, okay, this is the way. Like, you know, it's like that, like it talks about what is it, Jeremiah the 5th chapter? You'll hear a voice behind you saying, this is the way, you know, nudging you, tapping on your shoulder. But many will hear that voice and just completely still go the other way. You know, the brother Shahar broke it down beautifully last Friday at 10. You know, that voice is behind you because you need to make a 180, bro. You're going the wrong direction. Okay, you're not going in the right path. You're taking that broad path when you should be coming with us, man, through the spirit and power of Yahweh, taking that free route. Right? Like it says, pure stir up your pure minds by the way of remembrance. We have to be stimulated by this word, ultimately, man. This has to be fun for us. It has to be a joy for us, man. As it should. You know, it should be a joy to read a few chapters a day, man. It should, man. It should brighten up your day, man. You know, it should really, you know, that's a good way to put it. It should brighten up your day, man. Because dealing with all this folly, us being those judges, we know righteousness from wickedness, and when we're out there in the world, okay, we see it left and right. We see all types of things, from the littlest thing to the biggest thing. Okay. We still in captivity. This place is vexing, but the Lord has sent what unto us, man? That comforter. Okay. We have sent that comforter unto us, man. We have to, hey, you know, to you know, who can receive it? We have to be you know, in the word, man. We have to put on as the word, man, which is the word. No son. You know? But you got it, bro.
John, I just had one I wanted to slide in there. This is 1 Timothy chapter 3, verse 5. For if a man know not how to rule his own house, how shall he take care of the church of Yahweh Shem Yahushai? You know, and again, that fervency, that consistency requires discipline. All right, so you have to be disciplined first and foremost to be able to receive and handle the things that Yahweh Shem Yahushai has in store, man. All right, because ultimately it's just like with anything else, man. If you're not disciplined with it, you overexert. You know, you abuse it ultimately. You know, and when you abuse that, you are you end up being double-minded. You know, your judgment is clouded. You know, hey, just like, you know, we could just use money for example. You know how Jake get a little bit extra dollars. What he do? He blow it, man. You know. He doesn't know how to be disciplined, you know. And it's the same thing with this word, man. If you're not disciplined, all right, you can be cast out, man. You know, for being lukewarm. You know, you can have spirits come upon you. You could die, man, tomorrow, right now, in the blink of an eye, man. You know, so it's a very beautiful work that we're doing. But with that work, like the brother said, you know, by terror, by fear, you know, it's also fearful. All right, because it's not something to play with in any way, shape, or form. Man. It really is the ultimate life and death situation, if you will.
Anything else? If not, I'll bring out this last one, bro.
Con, you got it, bro.
Con. How long we been rolling?
I have no idea. Almost
50,
an hour.
50 minutes. Yeah,
50 minutes, almost an hour.
Yeah, con. Well, I'll just go ahead and we can close out with this, bro.
Okay, con, that's fine.
Shalom, you know, to the Akim,
Shalom.
That tuning in, you know, Yahweh Bashim Yashab Barakatam. This is the book of James, chapter 5, and we started. And it's beautiful because in the blue letter it says exhortation, man. You know, and to exhort means to, you know, push to do something. Okay, you know, it would basically we're coming in that state. You know, it would behoove you to do this. It would behoove you to have more passion. It would behoove you to be more fervent in prayer and deed and word and all that you do unto Yahweh. Ultimately, cool. Matter of fact, let me grab this, bro. I gotta grab this since I said that. Right. This is the book of Sirach, chapter 43, and verse 29. It says, "The Lord is terrible and very great and marvelous in his power." Right. When you glorify the Lord, exalt him as much as you can, for even yet will he far exceed. And when you exalt him, put forth all your strength. This is a PR, man. Okay, so to speak. This isn't a you know, I'm not going for 10 reps. I'm not going for 12. This is a 1 rep PR max, right? It says, put forth all your strength and be not weary, for you can never go far enough, right? So ultimately, we can never go far. We can never do enough to truly glorify Yahweh Shem Yashai. So we need to make sure that we're trying to, right? It says, who hath seen him that he might tell us, and who can magnify him as he is, right? There were yet verse 32, there are yet hid greater things than these be, for we have seen but a few of his works. For the Lord hath made all things, and to the godly hath he given wisdom, right? Given wisdom, given faith, given hope, given, you know, all these things are gifts, man. You know, and, you know, it's beautiful because with those gifts, like we have that opportunity to, and I was meditating on this, you know, Lord, when I'll do a lesson on it, but that eternal rest. Can you like really sit there really listening, man? Today, if you have, when you have time, you know, at work or whatever, just really sit there and meditate on what true rest looks like. You know, for example, I'm off today. I'm getting a good day of rest. Back to the plantation tomorrow, but at the end of the day,
can't fathom
right?
True rest.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say we can't even upon meditation, just like with the kingdom of heaven, like, you know, we can, even the things that we think of and meditate on still doesn't even do justice on how things are actually gonna be. So how much more is that, you know, like a light and a flame under you, you know, like right. that should even give you even more. Like, who don't want real rest?
That's what I'm saying, bro. That's what I'm saying. And some will, you know, like it says Daniel 12, await to that, you know, that glory, that eternal rest. And some, like it's, you know, Daniel 12, to everlasting contempt. And think about it, bro. You're Israelite regardless, right? So you're going to be saved when it's all said and done. But it's like, bro, like what type of Israelite do you want to be in the kingdom, though? Like, do you want to be joint heirs with Yahweh Shai himself? I would like that. I would prefer that. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, bro, like we brought out in Romans 12 and 11, bro. It says, not slothful in business, man. You know, we shouldn't be slothful about it, bro, because what's to come for us doing the things that we're doing, okay, and continuing to exceed and try to glorify Yahweh Shem Yashai to the best of our abilities. What's coming for that is for this. It's in our life, like it says, is but a vapor that appears for a little time, then vanishes away. For this small amount of time that you can see a vapor, okay. What's to come is like it talks about in 2 Corinthians, the 4th chapter, I believe. Is a far more exceeding and eternal weight of glory, man. Far more exceeding. Like, bro, it's like a feather to a brick. Not even. It's like a feather to a brick house. Like, bro.
Hey, the brother Yuwadazak gave a perfect example of it. Imagine being in the most perfect society ever on earth and you're ashamed. Imagine that. Everything's perfect. Everything's in righteous order and you're ashamed. You're because of all the wickedness. Literally, everything is perfect. Yeah. And you have to live with that shame. Crazy, man.
For eternity.
Crazy.
Yeah. But I'll go ahead and jump to the last precept I wanted to get. This, like I said, it says exhortation. This is James chapter 5, verse 7. It says, "Be patient, therefore, brethren, unto the coming of the Lord. Behold, the husbandman waiteth for the precious fruit of the earth, and hath long patience for it until he receive early and latter rain. Be ye also patient, establish your heart, okay, so establish your mind, for the coming of the Lord draweth nigh. Where's not one against another, brethren, lest ye be condemned. Behold, the judge standeth behind the door, before the door." It says, "Take my brethren, the prophets," right? The prophets of old, "who have spoken in the name of the Lord, for an example of suffering, affliction, and of patience. Behold, we count them happy which endure, man." All right. "We have heard of the patience of Job, and have seen the end of the Lord, that the Lord is very faithful and of tender mercy." At the end of the day, man, this is their straight gate. So we're doing the right thing, bro. Like Spike Lee, the Spike Lee joint, do the right thing, man. All right. Yo, we're in very prophetic times, man. We see what's coming. It's been given unto us to have those eyes to see and those ears to hear. Don't fumble the ball, man. Don't fumble it, man. Don't grow lackadaisical, man.
Yep.
To where the Lord is just like, okay, like you said, man, we already established you have off days, man. But that should become less of a thing, man. Off days should become less of a thing. It should be more on days than off days. You have 7 days in a week, man. It should definitely be more on days than off days. And not just 4-to-3 ratio, not just 5-to-2 ratio. But you should aim at 7 days a week. Do everything in your power. Read, pray, and prayer. Being on point in every way fathomable, man. Doing your lessons, okay? Feeding the flock. How does I told Peter that, man? Say you love me, Simon Peter. Well, yes, Lord, you know that I love you. Feed my flock, man. He told him 3 times.
Yep.
Right? 3 times for a reason, man. To emphasize how important it is that we follow. Let me grab this. That we follow in the footsteps of those that pursue that crown, man. All right. Hebrews 10 and Hebrews 6 and 10, it says, "For the Most High is not unrighteous to forget your work and labor of love, which ye have showed toward his name, and that ye have ministered to the saints and do minister. We desire that every one of you do show the same diligence to the full assurance of hope unto the end.
Yep.
That they be not slothful, but followers of them who through faith and patience, no matter what they were going through, inherit the promises." That's all I got, bro.
Keep going, bro. Keep going.
Verse
13.
13. "For when the Most High made promise to Adam or Abraham, because he could swear by no greater, he swore by himself, saying, Surely blessing I will bless thee, and multiplying I will multiply thee. And so after he had patiently endured, he obtained the promise."
Yep. Khan. And 16 and 17, Baba Kashan.
Con. For men verily swear by the greater, and an oath for confirmation is to them an end of all strife. Woo. It says,
And verse 17 being the point.
Wherefore Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, willing more abundantly to show unto the heirs of promise the immutability of his counsel, confirmed it by an oath.
Khan, exactly. And when you look into that word immutability, it means unable to change. So the Lord, literally everything that was promised, everything that was prophesied, ordained, it's gonna happen. Yep. It's gonna happen regardless. That's right. So if you want to be lukewarm, if you want to be cold, by all means, hey, that's what you want to do. Nobody can change you. Ultimately, but at the end of the day, what's meant to happen is still gonna happen. The elect are still gonna be sealed. This place is still gonna be destroyed.
That's right.
All right. We still gonna be redeemed. All right. Hey, he can, hey, even us, man. Even the rest of you Akim out there watching, man. The Lord can get rid of us in an instant, man. What he say can raise up sons of Abraham out of these very stones, roughly paraphrasing, man. He don't need us, and that's one thing that a lot of brethren forget. Bro, you need the Lord not only as if your life depends on it, because it does, but everybody around you. The very air that you breathe that wakes you up in the morning, though it be defiled, all right, though we be in an oppressive state, bro, if it wasn't for Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, you done for, man. And ultimately you don't want to operate in that measure, because the Lord could do to you what he's going to do to Esau, man. The Lord could have done that to us as a whole, as a nation of Israel. He could have done it, but he gave us this promise, man, and that promise is going to be executed.
Regardless if we're a part of it or not, bro.
Absolutely. Yep.
We'll go ahead and close it out then. Lord willing, it was edifying and exhorting, and of good service unto you and yours, man. Lord willing, we be those men in endurance. Any of the brothers as well. Pray that for you as well. All right. But like I said, Lord willing, it was edifying. I want to end it off by giving all praises, all honor, and all infinite glory unto Yahweh.
Hashem, Yahweh, Hashem,
again, double honors to the apostles and the elders of here in Power by who do well, as well as peace, blessings, and many salutations to the hopeful elect. So next time we say Shalom.
Shalom.